Well, folks, this is Jim Butzbach, and Jim has he picked this project up, this particular project, and he's pushed it right through to conclusion. Jim, tell us about the project.
So this is one of several projects that I've been looking over the last 18 months or so. My job was to take a project and look at whether it could be done or not, get it to a stage where it needed to be handed over to the operational staff for them to carry on with or discard. This is one of the projects that has actually gone ahead. The principals of the South Westland schools identified a need for equipment at South Westland area school if an event happened that due to weather or due to an AF8, something along those lines, a number of children could be trapped at South Westland area school. And they wanted to have the equipment so that they could communicate with the outside world so that they could look after the children for an extended period of time. I came in after the mayor met with the principals and they mapped out what they wanted to do, and I've been involved with stage one of this project. That project was to provide a communication device and also some means of powering that device. I looked at a number of different communication setups after I'd looked at the existing setup. We currently have landline, cell phone or mobile capability in some of South Westland, and we also have a radio network. The radio network works really well, but you need some sort of redundancy with any communication system because things happen when there's a disaster. I finally decided that a satellite text system would suit the needs of the school best. So I pursued that system and looked at putting it in place. Did a scoping plan and then presented it to the principals of the school, who gave me the go-ahead to purchase that system or look at purchasing that system. I went through the normal costing and presented the costs to various agencies to see if they would fund it. Unfortunately, there was no money available through the usual avenues. I went to industry in Westland to see if I could get somebody with an industry to fund it. Wasn't getting any joy there. So at the end of the day, it was a lot easier to go to the communities themselves to see if they would fund something to look after their children.
Brilliant, Jim. How many schools are involved?
6 schools are involved.
In South Westland?
In South Westland. So South Western Area School is where a lot of the children go to school, from Ross right down to, I think there's still kids coming up from Friends and Fox, but most of the Haas kids go the other way to Wanaka. They tend to get billeted out. So the idea was to put a base set at South Westland Area School, and then 5 other sets at each of the other schools, so that the schools can talk to each other over satellite text system.
So is that even if the power's out?
Even if the power's out, the satellite text system uses burst transmissions, so it's much more likely to get to the satellite. If the satellite is communication is poor for some reason, lots of dust in the air, heavy weather, that sort of thing. So the things that affect your television can affect the satellite phone as well. If you're not getting good communications, you're not able to hear what people are saying. But if you've got a text system, it's all written down and it's there forever.
And Jim, I understand that you've fundraised for generators as well.
Yes, we fundraised for a small generator for the school, and we got a 2,200 watt generator through Honda.
So that's for each school?
That's for each school.
Oh, wow.
Is available, and the communities have funded that. The Honda generator from Honda West Coast.
Yep.
It's a really good generator. It's top of the line. It's used by fire services around the country as their preferred generator.
So the preferred supplier, we've got this gentleman in the room here with us.
Sure.
What's his name?
His name is Brendan, and I could tell you basically what the system does, but I'd rather get an expert to tell you because he'll tell you the right story.
Love it. Well, Brendan, first of all, welcome to Westland, and thank you for persevering on this project because you've been on it for over a year now. And how about tell people who you are, what your company is, what this magic bit of equipment is going to do.
Okay, so Brendan Nally is my name. I'm based in Christchurch and have a company called Team Guardian, and we provide satellite enabled emergency alerting equipment. So this is a device which has been installed at each of the schools, and what it enables the school to do is to communicate with each other regardless of whatever other communications are down at the time. They can communicate with other schools, they can communicate with civil defence, and civil defence can communicate with them. And it also enables a hub so that any families that have got smartphones and the Rock Connect application on their smartphone can then send and receive text messages via the satellite device at the school. Each of the devices comes up on a map showing exactly where they are, and then from the core you can message the schools, and the schools can also message all of the parents to tell them what's happening with their children if there's a major event on the coast.
So what we're looking at on the screen at the moment is that where the existing phones that you've installed are.
Yeah, so this one's showing that it's been at Ross.
Yep, I see it there.
And this one is South Westland Area School at Harry. And simply by double clicking on the icon, we can send a message to that device from the core. And that then displays either on the device by flashing and they can see that a message has come in,
Yep.
or if the principal's got the Rock Connect app on their smartphone, then it'll show on their smartphone as well.
Well, we've had some really interesting experiences at South Westland Area High. We had cyclone come through. We ended up with a whole pile of kids left at the school. We had no power, trees down on the roads, and no way that the people in Fox and Friends and Ross could contact the school to see what their 6-year-old was doing.
One of the benefits of this device is that the school has got the ability to send to a group of parents. So they can send one text message which says, all children fine, further information to follow, and the parents will all get that message on their smartphone, even though there is no cellular coverage at the school.
Wow.
So as long as the smartphones are in cellular coverage, it goes via the satellite and goes out to those smartphones.
Yeah.
They can then communicate with the school, or the school can send further communications on what is going to occur. And that can happen if the bridges are out, if the phones are out, if the cellular's out. It all goes via satellite. The other thing about the device is that it's IP67, which means it's waterproof for half an hour in a metre of water. And it's also got the latest battery technology, which is lithium iron ferrophosphate, which is LiFeFor batteries. If it's only transmitting a few times a day, then the battery will last up to a year.
Goodness me. Isn't that incredible?
It's a good piece of kit. One of the things I used to do in a past life was test equipment to destruction. This device has actually passed the gym test. It has been dropped from a 3-storey building. It's a really good piece of kit.
Yeah. Well, Jim's just managed to demonstrate the collision alert, which is built into the device. So the device has got man-down lone worker capabilities and also collision alert. So if it was mounted in a vehicle and there was an accident, it would go off, send an emergency alert, and that emergency alert would go to a list of first responders. For the schools, we anticipate those first responders being, say, the local police, the Ministry of Education, people who are actually in a position to do some good. For individuals who have the device, maybe a stock agent on the West Coast, for example, they'd probably have maybe their family in as a first responder, and then also somebody else who's able to help them if something was to happen when they were handling stock, for example.
Brendan, if someone's out there, and I can immediately think of a dozen different applications, how do they find you? How do they get hold of you?
So my company is called Team Guardian, which is at www.teamguardian.co.nz, and you'll find my phone number and contact details there.
What's your cell phone number?
027 827 9704.
And it's Team Guardian.
Team Guardian.
What other applications do you see on the coast? I mean, let's say, for me, if we get the big earthquake, which we'll get one day, and the more of this type of technology that we have in situ, the better off we're going to be.
No question.
Is that the type of...
So let me give you an example of some people who are currently using them. Transport companies are using them because they can see their vehicles 24/7, even when they're outside of cellular coverage, and they can communicate with them. So if you're delivering maybe cigarettes or alcohol or things like that, which are liable to be stolen and the drivers could get assaulted, this will give them the ability to raise an emergency alarm, and you know exactly where they are. I've got shearers using them who are shearing outside of coverage. Beekeepers using them because often their hives are in upper valley somewhere and there's no cellular coverage. It's companies like that, because the device has got tracking on it, you can see where they've been and where they're going. Yeah. It gives you full coverage of the individuals, even outside of cellular or radio coverage.
What is it, 20 grand? What are they worth?
They're $1,400 each, and the Iridium satellite access fee is $40 a month.
So $1,400?
$1,400, yeah.
You can't buy a beer at the RSA for that.
Bloody can.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, look, Brendan, thanks so much for taking the time and explaining it to our viewers, because that's really important. And Jim, I've got to say, well done on this, because on day one it looked like Mission Impossible, didn't it?
It was a quite a big deal. You know, where we going to just give them a radio system? Where we going to connect them up to our radio system? There are problems with having lots of people on a dedicated radio channel, because not everybody can talk at once. Just the bedlam that would have caused within the civil defence system. Was better to use a system that was side by side. As has already been stated, these devices are already set up with civil defence. The civil defence can talk to devices at the schools. If there is a problem, we're up and running.
So we could bring people from Karamea to Harston on this.
Oh, everybody could. And the wonderful thing about this device is it can go anywhere. So if you're taking your kids on a tramp somewhere, you can take the device with you, and if Johnny stubs his toe, you can let somebody know that Johnny needs to come home.
And give him a ride in the rescue helicopter.
You could
too.
Mate!
So
they're pretty
I'm loving it.
So the red button down the bottom here, I thought that might be to turn Trump off, but apparently it sets off a signal, which says, come and get me.
I love it.
So it's one of those too. It's a personal locator beacon.
Well, coasters, you've got some really good information there. If you've got any thoughts at all on it, you've got Brendan's phone number, you've got his Team Guardian website. Give him a go. And Jim, hey, well done.
Thank you.